First thing that came to mind. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. And thank you for joining us once again, the Modern Show Gaming. I am Kaiju, so energetically awake, everyone's awake with me. Okay. With me here is Necro Nap Nick. Hello, Necro. Juggernaut hit the juice a little too early, Jared.
Hello.
Mama Lullaby Maxine.
Hello.
Trisha counting sheep. And we're gonna try and play D&D. I haven't slept in over 24 hours.
And Mama Bear's done nothing but catnapping.
Everyone knows I'm crazy. What are you trying to do? I literally created this entire channel because I am insane, and you're trying to make me look at. They already know it. The people that are part of this already know I'm batshit crazy. You can't make it prove anymore.
Okay, in the past 36 hours, I've only slept for an hour and a half.
That's more than I've slept.
That's in 36 hours, though.
Nick, the last time I slept, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. It is currently 7:33 in the afternoon. I have gone beyond my era. I am currently running on what can only be considered to be fumes.
You need to plot that air conditioner, man.
To quote a song, running on empty.
I'm not on empty because that was like 4 hours ago. Quite literally, the only reason this vehicle's still going is it's going downhill. All right.
Get afraid of the brakes.
And they're just pumping the brakes as they go down. So let's do a quick run by so everyone knows what happened. Unfortunately, last time certain members of the group were not available. Those would be Juggernaut Jared and Kmod. But don't worry, they had their own little adventure. Juggernaut Jared and Kmod decided that rather than following the rest of the group, they were going to go follow a trail of glowing mushrooms. End up getting attacked by mushroom creatures that filled their stomachs up with, well, special mushrooms. They laid waste to they committed genocide against all the male goblins that ran in front of them. And then they ran up to Necro and the rest of the group at the end after Necro and the rest of the group had got done fighting something horrible that was just the things that happened to my monster. The things that happened to my eldritch horror are just it's just not fair. He doesn't have a butthole, but now he does. Now he does.
Deathgasm made it have a butthole.
And Mama Bear decided to become three beings in one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you missed that part, Jug. That was a good part.
I do apologize because I was asleep.
That's fine. That's where I wish I was right now. By the way, speaking, okay. That hasn't gotten to Necro yet. Alright, so where we left off, Deathgasm decided to try and go and find some help for Kmod, so he grabbed Kmod and they ran off down one of the tunnels.
Yeah, because you were carrying Kmod because he kind of little OD'd on the...
He had mushrooms hanging out of his mouth.
Okay.
Juggernaut has finally come down from the crash, and he is snapped too. Mama Bear, and Mama Bear, along with Grimmsnarl, spent most of the time while Juggernaut was asleep contemplating each one of their lives one after another. And Necro keeps hearing a small scratching sound, but he can't find out where it's from. We rejoin our adventuring trio, unless otherwise mentioned, in a semi-dark cave lit up by fungus A hole in the wall where Kmod and a certain clown creature burst through.
No, it was Deathgasm.
Or Deathgasm and a certain clown creature burst through. And Necro.
Yeah?
Could you roll a d20 for me twice, please?
Twice? Okay. Okay, I got a 19 for the first roll.
Okay.
And a 1. 19 and 1.
Necro begins to feel a little feverish, but it doesn't seem like it's too much for him to worry about. Okay, so ahead of you is a beautifully lit up, crafted cave channel. Now, for those of you at home that know what a cave channel is, it's usually a construction location that they build so they can have underground rivers go through it. So they can build around it so they don't have to worry about diverting the underground river. However, this one seems to have run dry. There's no water, but it's very clean. So, what do y'all do?
Shall we inspect it?
I think that's a good idea.
I'll try and do a scan down the tunnel.
Alright. I'm not pushing buttons for any reason, Necro. Don't worry about it. And... So, Necro does a scan and he doesn't sense anything whatsoever. In fact, he doesn't sense anything at all. It's as if his scan is not working at the moment. However, the construction looks stable enough. There's no magical energies coming from it. And it seems to lead down further into the depths of the planet.
What the hell's going on with me?
Nothing. Yeah.
He's got something planned.
Oh, yes, I do.
Could it be Necro's fever?
Well, the first thing you need to know about Necro is a living construct.
I shouldn't be able to get feverish.
Nope. Although you know how it feels.
But you are.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, something wrong with me.
Oh, don't worry.
Would you like me to slam you up against a couple of walls just to see if you're okay?
Are
No!
we rolling d20s here? Because we can roll d20s here.
No.
All right. Well, as Juggernaut's sitting there, he gets tapped on the shoulder by the green horse with the top hat on and says, I think something's wrong with Necro. And Juggernaut turns to it and says, yeah, but we'll figure that out later. In case you can't tell, Juggernaut is still under the effects of the hallucinatory mushrooms. I haven't gone through his system yet. I'd like to introduce everyone to Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed is currently an imaginary creature who lives inside Juggernaut's mind.
Oh no.
Hi, Mr. Ed!
You can't see him. You can just see Juggernaut talking to himself. How long did you put him in for?
Too long.
As long as they come out as waffles and not hockey pucks, we're fine. So,
Well, then don't like how I'm cooking.
waffles are easy to cook. Steak is not.
Sorry. Anytime you bring up anything about hockey pucks and
You automatically
cooking,
think steak. I know. I'm not allowed to cook
Yeah.
steak. I've told people that. I don't even
Why
like...
can't you cook steak?
Because I am legally obligated from several states in the South to no longer cook steak due to the fact that it can be considered Tier 3 Kevlar body armor. Apparently, me cooking it the way I was taught and everyone else cooking it, I'm the one that's wrong. Because apparently, well done and my version of well done are horrible things that should never be done to a person. And there are several members of the Texas State Union who have decided to ban me from going to the state.
Well, I know somebody that
That's where you cook steak.
So
where do you cook steak, Necro?
Well,
Do you
I
cook it in the
mean,
microwave?
No.
Do you cook it in a saute pan?
Actually, I have.
Have you cooked it in an oven?
Yes.
Isn't that amazing? Look, I know someone else who cooked it in an oven.
And a grill.
And a grill. Hey, Juggernaut, if you were going to cook steak, how would you cook steak?
probably in the oven.
No, there's another person I know who cooked it in the oven. Mama Bear, what's your favorite place to cook steaks?
Skillet.
Ugh. Never mind, we got a heathen with us. Anyway,
I'd rather choose a grill.
you can choose whatever you want, but until you actually cook, I can't trust you either. So anyways, Necro is currently feeling a bit feverish. Juggernaut has his imaginary friend, and Mama Bear has 3 minds in 1. So, the tunnel seems safe to go. What do you gotta do next?
I
love how she's trying to tell everybody something they already know.
We know he's crazy, but that's why we like him.
Listen, this channel's been around for 8 years. Everyone knows I'm crazy, dude. Seriously.
I've known him a lot longer than 8
And
years.
Necro's known me longer, so's Juggernaut. In fact, Mom Bear's known me longer still. If these people don't know I'm crazy yet, they're on the wrong channel.
The tunnel that leads farther down into the planet, is that lit or is that dark?
Beautifully lit. Beautifully lit.
I mean, that's where our journey's supposed to go, so, I mean...
Huh. Yeah, baby zombie riding a chicken. Okay, that's weird. So, what are you guys' plans to do now? I mean, you guys... What?
Cautiously, I think we should keep going farther into the, farther down the well-lit path.
Well, here's the thing. Basically, you have 2 options here. You can either go down the well-lit path, or you can go back to the village full of red cap assassins who had all their men killed by Juggernaut and Kmod in a hypnotic mushroom thing.
You gotta go down the fucking cave.
I thought so. I thought y'all would go down there.
Yeah.
Mama Bear, you want to go back?
No, I'm gonna go down.
You sure?
You know what the part is?
You don't want to know what you did to those goblins.
At this point, I don't think anybody wants to know what we did to those goblins.
Even you're shaking your head no. Mr. Ed's shaking his head no. Necro still feels feverish.
I shan't feel feverish.
Sounds like a you problem, doesn't it?
Yes, how do I fix my you problem?
Well, seeing as I've looked at your spell list, you can't right now. So, the 4 of you continue going down the path. Cautiously this time. As you go further and further in, you notice certain things. For instance, signs that are actually written in common, saying first antechamber ahead. The floor has actually been cobbled out of marble. It's very well nicely done. The walls are some kind of granite with strange bioluminescent mushrooms in jars lighting the way. It's actually quite well lit. You wouldn't be able to miss anything. It's that bright. You would have penalties to your hide checks for this.
Mr. Ed, those are not food.
Oh, you're a mean one.
You mean I can't go and break one of the jars open and start eating a mushroom?
No.
You had your fair share of the special shrooms.
Juggernaut, or Necro, roll a d20 for Juggernaut.
Oh, quick.
Does he listen or doesn't he?
13.
Ah, okay. So Juggernaut resists the urge to break one of them and eat the mushrooms from the inside. As you begin to go down closer, you start hearing what sounds like voices.
Voices in my head.
Well,
That would be me.
Necro, roll a d20.
Oh, God.
Go ahead, keep giving me ideas.
I got 20.
Damn. Okay, no. They're not voices in your head, and it's not Mr. Ed talking to Juggernaut. They're literally voices ahead. You can't quite make out what they're saying right now, But you can tell that it seems to be a tense argument. Oh, by the way, Necro, your scanning just turned back on.
Oh? How does that happen?
I don't know, maybe you have demons in your system.
Don't make him mad. Don't make that guy over here.
Well, I'm glad he doesn't like the guy over there, because right now I'm over here. I'm the opposite direction from you right now. I'm feeling safe.
No, my screen is there.
Yeah, well, they see my screen.
And he's right there.
No, that's me.
That's Necro. I'm this way. And this way. Anyway. As you get closer, you begin to be able to hear the voices. You can make out one of the voices very clearly. It's the prince. And he seems to be having a very heated argument with somebody. While you can hear his side of the story, you can almost not make out the other side. You know there's somebody there, but you can't hear what they're saying. The prince seems to be attempting to defend the heroes, and seems to be telling the other individual to leave them alone. They have work to do, and he doesn't need their problems.
I think we should go stealth.
Okay, so wait, time out for a second. So by stealth, do you mean actually sneaking up and attempting to cash and listen into what it is? Or are you talking Necro, who's going to run up forward and throw a knife at somebody, pick up his guns and start wasting people down? Because you got to understand that to Nick, stealth is, hey, if there was no one left around to see it, nobody saw me.
Actual stealth where we sneak up.
What he said.
All right. Mom, there, would you like stealth or would you like to go loud? Remember, you do have the lunatic feet after all. You could just choose to go absolutely batshit crazy right now if you want. I'm just saying. I mean, just remember, you do have a clown girl inside your head. Uh-oh, I think she's hearing circus music, folks. Look out. So what do you say, Mom Bear? You want to go stealth or you want to go running down with squeaky shoes on or something? I don't know.
Well, they'd never expect the clown.
For all we know, they're talking to clowns.
Exactly.
So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna go first.
Okay, so Mom Bear very slowly reaches down to her side and pulls on the mask that looks like a clown. As she does, you watch as her feet slowly elongate and become red shoes. And she begins sneaking down like a comical character from a cartoon series, squeaking every step. And apparently they don't hear her. Apparently they don't hear her at all. Apparently they rolled a 4 on their listen check. Mama Bear is just sneaking like a demon. You hear squeaky, 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 and they don't hear her.
How do they not hear her?
We don't know. It's just they're arguing too much. They're too focused on the argument. Mom Bear slowly peeks her head out. I'm guessing Looney Tunes style, just like boing, 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 straight out. She sees the prince talking to the cultists. Now remember, folks, the cultists aren't the people wearing the masks. They're the people wearing the hoods. Because after all, Necro's last stealth outing taught us exactly what they were like. The one man who's talking to the prince continues to shuffle his hands around, speaking in some kind of sign language. The prince tells the man, listen, they are still a week out. Whatever you have planned, whatever you have to do, you have a week to do it. Do not make me come back. If I find out you have interfered with my plans, you will disappear like the rest. The prince then begins speaking in a Druidic language and disappears into the ground. The cultist then turns and walks away as well, deeper and deeper into the atrium.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
That's fine. This is the part where I wait for you guys to decide on something.
Well, that prince seems awfully suspicious.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he does.
Yeah.
But, I mean, face facts. I mean, can you mention one character so far that doesn't seem suspicious in this adventure?
A bard, kind of.
I mean, he
Trust him a little bit.
he kind of suspiciously disappeared. With Deathgasm.
He was trying to protect Deathgasm.
Was he?
I think because he knew Juggernaut wanted to throw him. Like a Pokeball.
Yo, Jug, he just pulled a funny on you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, allow me to describe where you are now. You're in the beginning of the very first atrium where the very first artifact was found. The room is a large, semicircular room, as in it's curved on one side and flat on the other. The room seems to be made of a strange, tannish, almost wood. It has the same strength as stone, but you can tell just by looking at it that it's wood. The room, although devoid of light, seems to be growing lush woods, forests. You can hear birds singing, and you can see small woodland creatures bouncing amongst the leaves. In the center of the room, there is an empty pedestal which once stood an artifact. The room is approximately 100 feet across. 100 by 50. Keep yourself track there. The prince disappeared into the ground. And while you couldn't see where he went, there are only two ways out of the room, and you're pretty sure the cultist went down the one that was well lit. The other path, which is directly ahead of you, seems to be overgrown with wood. It seems to have large vines, wood, and a small lake, or sorry, not small lakes, a small stream rolling down it. Necro performs a scan to realize that you guys are the only ones there right now. Except for some strange reason, Necro can detect Kmod and Deathgasm. Above, or are they below? He can't tell, but he can sense them somewhere nearby.
So at least he can sense them and tell that they're...
Well, his scan can reach 150 feet, which is kind of strange. Because Necro realizes that he should be able to see them from where he's standing, and he can't. Roll a d20, Necro! Necro suddenly realizes that his scan has gone offline again and is showing up error messages.
Yes! My scan is through. God damn it, I can't read if he's over 9,000.
Guy, give me strength. Anyway, so you guys are now currently on the edge of the atrium. There are two paths and a nice wooded area. What do you do?
Well, it's gotta be kind of hard to break through that wooden area.
But what I mean by it's overgrown is, I mean, like, it's like the tunnel seems to be made of the vines and the wood.
Oh, okay.
It's not a flat. It's not like the last room. It's not a flat surface. It'd be kind of difficult to travel, but you could probably travel down it. And then there's the well-lit path that you're pretty sure the cultists went down, because cultists don't seem to be wearing really good shoes, so you don't think they're going to go down the giant twisting, turning, spiked hallway.
Well, last time we ran into the cultist people, they summoned the ship monster.
Mom Bear says she votes to go towards the wood path. Her being an elf would give her the advantage in the woods.
I think we should.
Necro.
I third that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Let's follow the girl that's currently dressed up as a clown down the dark spooky wood hallway. Anyway,
Hey, listen, people quite hear her squeaking.
this is true. She has amazing stealth capabilities somehow. They should have heard her, but they rolled a 4. I don't know why they rolled a 4. Anyway, the path is slightly difficult, but you can make your way through it. Every now and then, one of you accidentally steps on a large briar or gets their hand cut by a small piece of tree, but you're able to keep yourselves healed up and relatively safe. After what feels like an hour worth of travel, but it could be more or less because, well, there's no sun right now. You make it out to a large room just filled with rocks. Obviously, this is where the construction workers brought all the rocks from the quarry. There are several entrances and several exits. However, most of the entrances are slides. You make it into the room. And roll for initiative.
So how many dice am I rolling?
Trace.
Okay, 18 to start off with.
That's Necro. 18. Nice.
We got a 2. Or no, 9.
Okay, Juggernaut 9.
And then a 17.
You guys have outraced what's gonna come. Necro takes another step into the room as an arrow goes winging past his head. It strikes the wall next to him, just in time for him to slowly turn to his left. Several feet away, I'm going to say about 60 feet away, about 2 good runs, you spot what appears to be an elfish shape. However, their skin is black. You have encountered drow. Or dark elves, if you will. You can see 3 of them, but with how dark the room is, there's no telling how many there actually are. Necro, believe it or not, you're first. In fact, all 3 of you get to go before the 3 drow.
This is kind of weird.
Yeah, I know, because usually it's the other way around, but you actually rolled good this time. The freaking fastest drow I got rolled a 7. These are drow! They're elves! You guys should be able to outface them. I'm going to say it's because of your combat efficiency skills. Oh, and Necro, you're starting to feel a strange pain on your right shoulder.
Why?
Why not?
Why?
Wait, Necro, I forgot. Roll one more d20 real quick. One more d20. I need you to roll one more d20.
Oh!
You have to, though. This is actually for another character.
15.
Okay. Wow. So it goes Necro, Mr. Ed, Mama Bear, and then Juggernaut. And then the drow.
No. Mama Bear would be after me.
Oh, Mama Bear was it? Okay, so Necro.
She
Mama
got
Bear.
17.
Okay, Necro, Mama Bear, Mr. Ed, Juggernaut. Now I know what you're saying. Wait a minute, isn't Mr. Ed an imaginary character? But wait, there's more, folks. This is apparently a very difficult part right here because Necro's kind of who, what, where, when, why, how. You're being shot at!
You know what? What level's my devil's ray of destruction?
Well, since you're level 7, that would be, you could cast it as a 3rd level spell.
Well, that doesn't matter. It matters of how many times it got cast.
That's right. That's right.
I think you were up to 3?
You were up to 2. Mama Bear cast the 3rd level, which doesn't count towards you.
Okay.
You'd still be casting as a 3rd level, as a 3rd casting though.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna do that, which is 3 blasts that deal 1d4 plus 1 of force damage.
All right. Shite. Ow. All right. So, Necro lets all 3 blasts go. They strike the first drow in the chest 3 times, The drow slips off its location and falls 20 feet straight down.
Damn.
It takes 12 points of damage from the raise and additional 12 damage from the fall because it rolled a frickin' 1. My luck is not here tonight, folks. Now it's Mama Bear's turn.
One-haired drow.
Mama Bear, there's currently 2 drow within vision, both armed with longbows, and one that's currently upside down in a cartoonish fashion because it got hit with 3 rays, fell backwards, and landed on its head. It's your turn, Fruity Goo Poop. What are you gonna do with the squeaky hammer, Mom Bear? You gonna throw it at them?
Yes.
Oh, who are you throwing it at? The one who fell down or one of the other 2?
One of the other 2.
Alright. Roll that. Okay, and I need to roll that. And alright. Mom Bear pulls out a balloon from her pocket and blows up, and after a little bit of balloon tossing, juggling, she turns it into a war hammer that literally becomes a war hammer in real life. She then somehow picks it up over her head, cries out with a Xeno warrior princess cry, and hurls it at the drow. The drow's able to attempt to dodge most of the hit, but is still clobbered by a giant squeaky hammer. The drow takes 6 points of non-lethal damage and is looking around like, what the f just happened? Grimmsnarl dives down into the ravine and begins heading towards the fallen drow. And then, Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed rolls up both his sleeves, revealing no arms, and while flailing his hands wildly over his head, runs at one of the other drows and throws a punch. The punch goes right through the drow. It does no damage. Juggernaut, your turn.
So, we're in a room full of rocks, right?
Rocks as far as the eye can see.
Oh no.
And it makes boulders surrounding.
Big ones, small ones, ones as big as your head.
I want the biggest boulder.
Necro, roll a d20.
We're gonna play bowling for drow.
I have a bad feeling about this.
18.
Oh.
Bowling, or are you gonna throw it? Which is gonna be Juggernaut?
We're gonna play bowling for drow.
So the largest boulder is the one that Mom Bear and Necro are currently standing on.
I'm sorry.
Juggernaut, without thinking, grabs the giant boulder, lifts both of you up into the air, and begins to roll the giant boulder at the fallen drow. I need you to roll 2d6s, Necro.
I apologize, guys.
It's too late for that.
Okay, first one was a 3.
Okay.
Second one was a 3.
Necro and Mama Bear both take 10 points of damage after they fall down and hit the ground because Juggernaut decided to bowl. Alright. Well, let me just roll I gotta roll a dice for no reason real quick.
Okay, so who landed and who's left?
Oh no, unfortunately neither
Squeak!
Natural
That
D20.
was the first thing that pops up. Oh, Bear.
Grab.
Well, funny you should say that, Necro.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Necro suddenly feels intense pain coming from his right shoulder. As he goes to grab for it, something pops up out of it. A large black tentacle bursts from his shoulder blade.
Wait, doesn't this make me weak already?
Unfortunately, Necro's susceptibility also kicks in, lowering all his stats by 2 for the rest of the encounter.
You fucking dick tentacle.
Also, he starts feeling pain from his left shoulder as well.
Oh no.
Start chopping off arms!
Chop
No.
Wait, chop off his arm? I think he wants you to chop off the tentacles. But anyway, so the first drow unfortunately did not get back up. It's still kind of laying down, waiting for Grimmsnarl to eat it. The drow that hit Mama Bear with the squeaky hammer, however, readies its arrow.
Well, what kind of damage did the bowling ball do?
I told you guys both took 10 damage.
But he was also throwing at them.
Oh yeah, hang on, I forgot that part. Hang on. Okay, well, I'm guessing you were aiming at the last remaining drow.
Yes.
Wasn't standing.
Yeah, the drow gets smashed dead on with the boulder and takes 28 points of damage, plus 10 from your strength bonus. So that's 38 points of damage.
Wow.
Also, they kind of get slammed into a wall.
Are they currently pinned by the boulder?
Oh, good question. Are they pinned? No, they're not pinned. The boulder rolled back in comical fashion, and they're like, oh.
Oh,
So
okay.
the boulder bounced.
The drow that got hit by the warhammer pulls out their bow. It's a strange bow. It seems to be glistening. Notches an arrow back and aims it at Juggernaut. It's a hit. Juggernaut takes a black laced arrow to the shoulder blade and takes 10 points of damage. The third is not doing too well. They take their turn to slip around the corner and kind of try to get help.
Okay.
All right, so we don't know whose turn it is next. Necro.
Well, I think I'm gonna be doing a tag team move.
With who?
With my good pal, Juggernaut.
All right, you're gonna have to wait until Juggernaut's turn to do it then.
Okay.
So explain what you're gonna do.
Well, I'm gonna, do my Megaton punch with him throwing me.
Oh, okay. At which one? The one that's kind of shooting at you, or the one that fell down and is about to get eaten by Grimmsnarl?
Peanut butter?
The one that's shooting.
No.
Okay.
Not
So you'll have to wait till
good.
Juggernaut's turn, but if Juggernaut's okay with it, you'll do a team attack. You guys okay with that?
Oh, that's fine.
All right, Mama Bear. Your squeaky warhammer did 6 points of non-lethal damage and left the drow confused. So he shot Juggernaut instead of you. Now what do you do? Also, Grimmsnarl is currently going down to eat a drow.
I say Grimmsnarl can do whatever.
Okay, then what are you going to do? You have your bow, you have the several tricks you can have from your Harlequin specialty, you have several things you can do from your gladiator mask as well. You can shoot with your crossbow, which by the way, you've reloaded by now, so it still has 6 shots in it.
Wait, since you guys are playing DND.
Yeah. What's she doing now? Oh, she's putting her tiara on. Look out. She's got her tiara on. All right.
The sister of the prince.
May not want to be the sister of the prince. Anyway, so Mom Bear, what are you gonna do?
What? What's going on?
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you! I'm not touching you! I'm tired. I'm so tired. And I already went through my hazes and crack water.
So did I. Yeah, we all did.
Yep, Mom Bear, it's still your move.
Crossbow.
Okay, what are you gonna do? You gonna...
Poison tips.
Okay. And you're aiming at the drow that's on the wall, the one that fell down. You're gonna shoot Juggernaut in the arse.
The one
Shot Juggernaut?
Yeah.
Okay.
My OG target.
All right, Mama is able to land 5 out of the 6 hits. 1 goes wide. The other 5 strike the target. Unfortunately for Mama Bear, Drow are immune to poison. So her poison bolts don't inflict poison. However, it does improve by dealing 15 points of damage directly to the Drow. Mr. Red begins doing a put 'em up fashion. And for a split second, the Drow that just got shot by Mama Bear turns to its left and kind of freaks out, as if it saw Mr. Ed. Okay, Juggernaut, it's your turn. So, are you going to pick up Necro? And just like,
Yep.
All right, well,
Well, I'm done.
I gotta kind of roll to see if you can actually hit. I'm sorry about this, but if you could also send Necro flying. And the heart of the cards is with you. That Drow just became nothing. All right. So you grab Necro by his slender hips, and you go to throw him. You know, you kind of take an aim.
Uh-huh.
No, wait a minute. I forgot. And as you
Unfortunately, his tentacle grabs hold of me.
Well, no. As you throw him, the tentacle slaps you in the back of the head. You take 5 points of damage. Necro, however, goes flying at full speed towards the Drow that was shooting. And let's just... The damage was more than was required. First of all, that Drow, unfortunately, only had another 15 HP left. You and Necro's combined attack dealt 62 points of damage. You turned him inside out and he exploded. He literally went through him and he just turned inside out and just exploded everywhere.
Oh, so he was like the people from the submarine.
I was waiting for that.
Oh, come on. Topical, not topical. The pain in Necro's left shoulder begins to intensify. The Drow that was on the ground looks up just in time to see Grim Snarl latch on to his head with its bone-crushing jaws. That's the last you see of that Drow. However, in the distance, you hear a war horn go off. And you begin to hear footsteps approaching you rapidly. A little lighter than that. Jeez, they're footsteps, not freaking armored golems. Yeah, the Drow you let get away was able to pull off its war horn and played it. So now it's up to you guys to perform what you want to do next.
We're about to have incoming.
Yes.
The degree we are not aware of.
This is also true. So, you have one that's currently being eaten by a dire hyena. You have another one that you turned into a fine paste. The third one is injured due to a bowling incident, but was able to escape. So,
And it's coming reinforcements.
and it got reinforcements coming. Now, there's no way to tell how far the reinforcements are, or how many of them there are. All you need to know is they're coming, and it's up to you guys to decide what to do next.
Can that Drow see us? Like, are they able to watch us right now?
I actually have to roll that one. Yes. The Drow's superior dark vision allows them to see exactly where you guys are. I can't tell you how far away they are, but they're coming.
So I was going to say about going stealth. Yes, I mean stealth where they wouldn't be able to see us.
Not stealth, as in you pull a Vulcan minigun out and begin opening fire on them.
Pretty much.
Well, we might have to go that kind of stuff.
None of you own a minigun.
No, but we do a juggernaut that can throw a neck with a making punch.
Yep. And we don't know how large that army coming towards you is.
Yes. I don't know. I think retreat might be an option.
Was that
Yeah.
Necro?
I'm thinking retreat might be an option.
All right. Well, what are your thoughts on it, Jug?
I think a retreat would be a tactical, viable option.
All right. What about you, Mom Bear? Mom Bear says you should stand and fight.
Mama Bear is right behind you.
And she didn't say anything.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Well, the vote is 2-1, so you guys are going. So Juggernaut grabs onto Mama Bear, hurls her over his shoulder, and begins running back up the tunnel. Juggernaut follows, and so does Mr. Ed. So Mama Bear's like, "Let's do this!" And Juggernaut's like, "Nope." Now Juggernaut is the voice of reason.
Crazy woman. Enough of your crazy woman.
Normally I'm the type of person, granted, yeah, I played bowling for Drow. I think now is not the time to play bowling for Drow.
No.
But it could be fun.
When you guys get safe, you might want to pull that mask off her. Anyway, you're able to quit. You're able to make your way back up the tunnel. You can hear the Drow coming, but you eventually lose them in the distance. Either you lost them, or they don't feel like tracking you.
I'm not high enough nor drunk enough in the game to go after all the Drow.
Well, the best part is you don't know how many there were. Oh, and
Yeah.
the tentacle on Necro's back slaps him in the head for 2.
And I slapped the tentacle back.
I guess you could. I just
How about no.
slaps the tentacle. Bad tentacle. Bad tentacle. All right. So you've made your way back to the atrium, and once again you have 2 wonderful choices you can go. Choice 1 is to go down the well-lit tunnel, or choice 2 to return back to where the Drow are currently preparing to assault you. The choices are yours and yours alone. Mom there. Well-lit hallway or take the Drow on?
Hallway.
We have 1 for the hallway.
I second that.
2 for the hallway.
I'll say
Hallway,
that.
because that's when you meet
Hey,
the princess.
Hey, listen, young lady, I'm the DM of this. You are not. Maybe they'll find the wicked stepsister instead. We'll find out eventually. All right. You've now decided to take a justified route and go down the well-lit, well-floored, well-everything floor. You begin to make your way down the hallway, when in the distance, you spot a familiar shape. It's about 3 foot tall and has a mask on its face.
That bitch again. No. I don't
The
say that
little
again.
girl that you guys did not save last time you met, again, is giggling and waving at you down the hallway. She's kind of motioning you to come closer to her as she goes skipping down the hallway.
Let's follow the little girl.
Nah, Juggernaut?
Sure.
All there?
I think we should follow her.
All right, you guys go skipping to your death then, I guess. Anyway, you start making your way down the hallway when you kind of notice that the scenery has kind of changed. Above you on the rafters are hundreds of villagers. They all seem to be wearing the same costume. Burlap sacks and a nice thick 4-inch thick rope wrapped around all their necks. The little girl sits in the center of the room, giggling and laughing. And Necro, you don't have to sense it, you can see it. You can still see that purple glow. It's there. So, the room seems to have been a storage room at one time. There seems to be a second story, and everyone's getting ready to do the monster mash, if you will. The little girl looks upon you, and then smiles at Juggernaut and waves at Juggernaut.
Like that.
The little girl begins to combine her speech. Welcome, welcome, heroes. It's such a wonderful time. We're so glad you're here. Aren't you happy? She looks at Necro and says, your time has almost come. She looks at Mom Bear and says, look at all the friends you've made. She looks at Juggernaut and just begins laughing. You were a tough one. Because you were a tough one, she says with a giggle. We couldn't trick or trap you into getting anything. We couldn't give you any presents. But I know a present you're going to love. I call it human sacrifice. The little girl holds her hand up in the air, and all the villagers begin to sing out, "Aww." And then she brings her hand down. Just like that, you hear a riptide of necks being cracked, throats being stretched, bodies flinging themselves to the ground, as hundreds of villagers, all wearing the masks, jump off their balconies simultaneously. The carnage is palpable. She smiles and looks at Juggernaut and says, I did this for you. This is for you.
Doug.
I never wanted this.
She giggles and says, I know, but everyone loves gifts. It's almost time for yours.
I hate gifts.
But you'll love this one. She then looks up at the ceiling and begins speaking in tongues. Arish, Kashol, Cthulhu, Amakan. She then giggles and walks away, as if holding the hand of some massive creature. And then disappears. The room is still.
Someone's getting bummed.
Bodies hang everywhere, except for those whose ropes broke or weren't tied properly. They're smashed into the ground. And on each of them, carved into their chests with knives, Juggernaut Jared.
Someone's gonna die.
So what are y'all doing?
Many people have died, Juggernaut.
Let's get Juggernaut. Room full of people have died. Carnage everywhere.
I say we get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Well, first off, people, what kind of exits do we have?
Roll for initiative, everybody. I'm going to need 4 rolls, Necro.
Okay, a 12.
12.
An 8.
And 8.
1.
Ooh.
And 8. Yeah, that's the one. And a 16.
All right. Well, at least Mr. Ed can move first. As Necro begins to speak about looking for ways out, he kind of looks at one of the bodies, and its eyes snap open. All of the hanging bodies' eyes suddenly snap open. Hundreds of bodies begin to rotate and face all 3 of you. Then you notice something. The ropes are moving. They're bobbing and pulling up and down. And then you see it. On the ceiling, slowly descending, is a massive humanoid body made of rope, made of steel chain. As it lowers itself, you realize that the ropes were never tied around their necks. They were being held by the creature. As it lifts up its many arms and begins pulling the ropes in. You watch as the people's bodies contort and shake, and they begin to laugh a maniacal laugh as their bodies slowly shrink as you realize the creature is drinking their blood. Its straw-like body slowly takes on a crimson color. Its face is one of the smiling faces, but you can feel that there is no joy in this creature. As its body writhes and pulls itself into a humanoid form, you are beset by a 30-foot tall creature. The ropes form hands and feet. It looks down at you. It pulls back its head and roars. And then you watch as its body begins to twist and move. And what begins to spill out of them are desiccated corpses. Dozens of them. They all hit the ground, but then stand up with superhuman speed and look at you. They also begin to screech, and they charge. A group of them charges after Necro. While their bodies seem like they wouldn't be able to weigh much, they pack a pounding. Oh, damn. Ow. The 5 corpses slam into Necro simultaneously. They attempt to grab onto him and pin him, but none of them can. However, just the impact alone rends Necro for 24 points of damage. The next group... The next group charges after Juggernaut.
Keep in mind, guys, we haven't healed yet.
Yep, you guys haven't healed yet. Then again, you guys didn't take much damage last time either. My poor monster did. Right up his anus.
No, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. That was Death prior.
Listen, I'm just stating the fact, okay? The 5 more bodies collapse onto Juggernaut. They hit him with force, but they're not able to move the mountain of a man. However, just their impact, their superhuman speed is enough to inflict 24 points of damage to him. Unfortunately, all 5 bodies are currently tangled on Juggernaut's spiked armor.
Causing that damage as well! Yay!
Yep, it's rending them, actually. No, okay. The next group attempts to charge Mama Bear, but are intercepted by Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl slams all of his bulk into them and is able to knock them past Mama Bear. Unfortunately for Grimmsnarl, it's not so nice afterwards. The mass of ropes and blood looks down and swings its massive hand at her. Oh, thank goodness. Ooh. It impacts the ground next to him, but throws him into a wall, dealing 20 points of damage. From somewhere nearby, you can hear giggling. Necro, I believe it's your turn. Oh! It's your turn. Necro's left shoulder bursts forth a tentacle as well. Dealing 10 points of damage to him. Necro, it's your move.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's got 10.
Necro, I apologize for what I'm gonna do.
Juggernaut, you might not be able to do anything at this point. You kind of have a group of corpses kind of entangled on you. You're kind of having difficulty, you know. You got to pull them off or something because you're not going to be able to do much. Necro, it is your turn. And just to let you know, these things are currently swarming you, so casting a spell may not be your best bet right now. I know that's probably what you're thinking, and also your Megaton Punch has been used up for the day.
Right.
So you can't Megaton Punch either. No. You're not getting my tea. There. Delicious. Negro, we're still waiting on you, buddy.
I know.
You kind of have an army of corpses wrapped around you, trying to make you into them.
So,
Yes.
thankfully I got this little magical bag. Right?
Well, you do have your pocket dimension, yes.
Yes, with my hyperspace.
Yes, your hammer space, yes. You also have 5 desiccated corpses currently trying to turn you into beef jerky.
I wonder what I could pull out of there to cause some major damage to these 5 corpses.
Well, if we look back at what you appropriated from the town, you have several bladed objects, an explosive, and some alchemic fire, which, by the way, in case you're wondering, is basically just napalm. I would suggest against using the latter two, seeing as you're currently right there.
Right, yeah, the explosive and the napalm could do some damage to myself.
Yes, they could. They could do quite a lot of damage to you. So while Necro's sitting here thinking, his left tentacle grapples one of the corpses and begins to crush it with its grip, dealing 4 points of damage to it. So you only have 4 corpses trying to eat you right now, one being held up in the air by your tentacle.
Good tentacle.
It's the one you high-fived earlier.
So I'm going to pull out 2 blades, one for each hand, and start slicing the other 4.
All right, could you roll a d20 4 times and give me the numbers?
Sure. So 18.
Okay.
A 10.
Okay, that still hits.
15.
That still hits.
And the 13.
Necro pulls 2 blades out of nowhere. The corpses would show surprise if they weren't already dead. He quickly lunges out with the 2 steel blades and slashes. His slashes strike home, aiming for weak points such as the inner thigh, the throat, and the eyes. Each corpse falls as he strikes it, as if they had no health left. John, your turn.
I want to rip off the, not rip off the. I want to use my armor and grate them like Swiss cheese.
Damn. No. Oh, just make it stop. Make it stop here. Oh no. Oh, Jiminy Crickets. All right. So unfortunately, Juggernaut just rolled a d20. So Juggernaut holds his arms out wide and grapples the 5 corpses. He begins to shimmy and shake himself like this, as they just turn to dust and cloth. That's to the power of the mighty Juggagrator.
I love the feel of blood on my armor.
The massive rope monster bears down on Grimsnarl. It brings down its fist and aims right for her. She's currently unconscious from the last blow. Oh. However, what you guys don't see, but what Juggernaut does see, is Mr. Ed jumps into the way and is able to knock the hand free. Kind of just like clobbers it out of the way. He deals 5 damage to the rope golem and turns to Juggernaut and goes, by the way, Grimsnarl still has a ton of HP. Grimsnarl still has close to 80 HP. She's a big thing, you know. She just kind of got KO'd by a giant monster made of rope and blood and corpses. Not the best day. Mama Bear, you watch as somehow the blow that should have splattered your hound gets knocked away. It's your move.
I used my bow and arrow, or my
Crossbow?
crossbow,
Okay.
and tried to do my best to help Grimsnarl out of his predicament.
Okay.
Hang on. I do gotta remind Mama Bear that I believe there are still corpses around here, too.
Oh no, Grimsnarl knocked him free.
Oh, okay.
Saving her.
Gotcha.
Ooh, 14, 20, 28, whew, 34. Mom Bear locks and loads her crossbow and unloads into the monster. 34 points damage hit its body. However, it seems to be undeterred. The massive creature looks around the room and begins to scream. Its body writhes, and you notice that it seems to have gotten a little smaller. However, it doesn't seem to be attacking.
Why would it not be attacking?
I don't know. But it's your move, Necro.
So this is a construct, right?
It's a pure construct, yes.
Okay.
Technically, it's a necromantic construct because it's feeding off of blood, but yeah, it's a construct nonetheless. It would be hurt by purified.
It's a non-living creature.
Right, but it could be hurt from purified things. Like if you cast like Cure Wounds on it, you'd injure it.
Okay.
Just the undead don't do too good when you hit them with holy things, so. I love being given free time to roll dice while people aren't looking.
Hey! Why are you rolling dice over there?
For no reason whatsoever.
Oh shit, why are you rolling dice over there?
No reason. Necro begins to sweat.
Hey? Why am I, sweating?
It's kind of you're kind of in the moment, man. I don't think you're gonna notice it.
Yeah, robots don't sweat.
Well, actually, as a living construct, you would still be able to sweat.
Ah.
You're kind of like a Terminator. You kind of have to be a human, so you still have the ability to sweat.
Okay.
However, at this moment, you're in a nice, cool room, but you know it's also the moment where you're kind of trying to kill a giant monster. You might not notice you're sweating. However, your allies may see you sweating and not, that kind of stuff. It's a giant creature made of a hay-like substance.
Hey, would you say this creature may have a soul?
No, it's a golem. It's made of magic.
Okay.
Soulless in Seattle. It has no soul. Just like 90% of rappers out there, they have no soul. Except for those that actually studied the blues, in which case you guys got sold. Come on, all rap is the blues with a beat. You can't beat the blues, though. You can't beat the blues.
Looking here, I'm looking here.
Use that thinker, Necro.
Necro, could you roll a d20 while you're thinking?
It's made of straw.
I got 18.
All right. Hopefully Trisha gets back soon.
Oh.
What? I sure hope Trisha gets out here soon. It's a shame. You could be showing up soon. She's not here for it. She's not here for it, you know. Well, the creature isn't really made of straw, but like it's made of like a material that would be like straw, so you know, like woven rope and that kind of stuff, you know.
Grass fibers.
Yeah. It's just a giant thing of nasty, evil controlled ropes. That, yeah. Yeah. Just gotta wait on Necro. He's desperately looking through his spell catalog. You know, for a character that was designed to switch amongst different classes and everything like that, he is focusing so much on spellcasting. I'm surprised he didn't choose a spellcaster.
Ironically, that's what I was thinking before I found the anime girl.
Yep, and so far you've done a great deal of things as all the other characters. You've bounced around as the cat girl, and you've cast spells.
Yeah.
Huh.
You say I should be using my warrior?
No, I'm saying you should play the game you want to play, because a DM doesn't tell people how to play. Well, a good DM doesn't tell people how to play.
DM doesn't constantly drop hits either.
Oh, not all my hints have been good.
I know.
As these two have found out, I either give really good hints or really evil hints. That depends on how they take it. I mean, look at you. You went from one person to 3 people.
Yeah.
Have we ever discussed the exotic weapon I would have?
Well, I just gave you a standard katana.
Okay.
You told me to design the character, so I made you weeb material, so you have a katana.
Okay.
Which is 2d10 damage plus high crit, a 4 times crit rate modifier.
So I will go into warrior type mode.
Okay.
And try and slash the big instructor thingy there with my katana as many times as I'm allowed.
Necro holds his magic wand over his head and goes, warrior mode! And then he gets surrounded by a rainbow color thing where he starts spinning and throwing his body back. And he slowly transforms over what are scenes that everyone knows should be erotic but are being changed due to copyright laws and everything like that, so that you can't see the actual parts as he's transforming. Like, you've seen Sailor Moon, you know what I'm talking about. You know, the ribbons go up his crotch, they wrap around his tits and everything. You know what's going on. You know what I'm talking about here. The monster's like holding up a lighter over its head, kind of going back and forth to the music. Necro pops out of it in a suit of full plate armor with a katana on his side. The Necro rushes the monster and begins swinging violently at it like a madman unleashed. Necro skimmy slaps and slashes the creature for a grand total of 20 damage. However, the damage he deals to its leg does not seem to be healing very quickly, and the creature seems to be a little tumbly. The creature glares and turns towards Mama Bear. It lifts its big hand up and begins throwing its hand down as hard as it can at her. Unfortunately for Mama Bear, all of her mind seem to be screaming different things at her right now. Okay, so just before it hits, a sound is heard in Elven. Someone screaming something in Elven. A barrier erupts around Mama Bear, stopping the impact. Standing slightly behind Juggernaut seems to be a slowly exhausted young woman who looks just like Mama Bear, except a little bit younger. She pants and breathes deeply and says slowly, "Just made it in time. Tacos."
Did you see just say I got taco thing?
You know I did. It's Taco Tuesday. For a quick iteration, this happens to be the daughter of Mama Bear. Yes, it's Trisha. I've decided to turn Trisha into a very simple class, but a very fun class. She's a war cleric.
Ah, nice.
What she just did is cast the spell Shield of Faith, which was able to stop her mother from getting smashed by the giant rope golem. Of course, this is also the moment where she also realizes that she should have stayed in the shadows because her mother realizes that she told her not to follow her.
And your mother's crazy at the moment.
And your mother's absolutely batshit crazy right now.
Just warning you, she's got three freaking minds talking to her.
She turns around and looks at you, and in three different voices coming from her mouth, she goes, "What are you doing here?" And the rope golems, of course, still holding the torch. You can see it motioning the fight motion between the two of them.
Reach chair.
It reaches into its fold and kind of brings out a little chair and puts it behind Mama Bear, a little metal chair behind her. In case Mama Bear wants to hit her with a chair or something, you know, that kind of stuff. It's slowly putting its hair up and putting on a suit to look like Jerry Springer, you know. Necro and Juggernaut find themselves in an audience all of a sudden.
Have a ladders, tables, and chairs match?
No, you guys are now on Jerry Stringer.
Rest in peace, Jerry.
Rest in peace, Jerry Springer. No, I'm just kidding.
He died
Yeah, well.
a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, there's no time for talking now, as there's a giant behemoth that seems to be having a very bad day right now. So, Trisha,
Yes.
what do you want to do to this giant wall of wood and metal and blood?
Oh, may I make a suggestion for the young lady?
Yes, you may.
Hit it hard!
She is a cleric, right?
A cleric of the War Council, yes.
Meaning she should have some kind of religious kind of spells in their spell
Okay,
repertoire.
let me explain. A war cleric would be the equivalent of what Kratos is.
Oh, okay. My bad,
She is
my bad.
quite literally, I can cast spells and I can kick ass. She does have healing spells, she does. But she also has access to things like Righteous Flame, which is a area of effect fire spell. Or Shield of Faith, which she just used to save her mother. Or she can pull out her best friend Little Axe, which is a massive battle axe that she keeps on her back.
I would actually suggest doing the Righteous Flame.
Trisha, do you want to cast Righteous Flame on the giant monster?
Yes.
Alright. She holds out her hand and begins babbling in the language of the elves. Which I don't know the language of the elves, so I'm just guessing it sounds somewhat cool and awesome. And a small, I'm talking tiny, blue flame appears in her hand. And she aims and she goes, and the flame slowly travels to the monster before detonating in a massive 20-foot blast of flames. The creature takes 36 points of damage and is currently on fire.
Thank good for all those ropes and wood.
Yeah, it's almost as if I've been hinting at that since the very beginning, that this creature is made of very easily flammable material. And that Necro as a spellcaster could have, and Juggernaut, who actually has access to flame-based abilities, could have, and Mama Bear, who has flaming and explosive crossbows, could have.
What are my flaming abilities?
Oh, girlfriend. You gained Molten Fist at your last level up.
Oh.
It basically allows you to punch your fists together and create flames around them.
Okay.
If it's gonna be your turn, Mash just maybe aiming those molten fists at a leg that's currently wobbly.
By the way, it's currently Juggernaut's turn. No, wait, hang on.
Hey,
Wait,
I
missed
wonder what I'm gonna do.
I missed one, sorry. Mr. Ed's turn.
Yeah.
Let me just see if he can actually pull it off. He can? How? He shouldn't. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. All right, so Mr. Ed holds his hand over Grimmsnarl, which, by the way, remember, only Juggernaut can see Mr. Ed. The rest of you just see a blue light appear over Grimmsnarl, and Grimmsnarl's healed 10 points of health. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn, Jug.
I'm not going to go for the leg. I'm going to go for another appendage.
Its balls don't exist. You can't crotch shot this thing. It will do nothing.
Darn it.
I'm just saying, it's a giant rope monster. You punch it in the junk, it's just going to kind of look at you. There's nothing there. There's no anatomics. It's
Go for the leg, Jug.
It's a Ken
No
doll.
balls, no dick, no nothing. It's a woman.
You would get rug burn trying to have sex with this thing. It's just nothing. I'm just throwing it out there.
I want to go full force with my molten fist at that leg that is severely injured.
So you're just rushing the leg that Necro sliced and diced.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if Juggernaut's able to do anything to this guy, shall we?
Let go.
We are not playing the pronoun game with a giant monster made of rope. Currently, its pronouns are "oh" and "shit."
It's the ultimate bondage monster.
All right. So I've got good news, great news, amazing news, and horrid news.
What's the horrid news?
The horrid news is Juggernaut is currently coated in blood.
Okay.
Well, he likes being coated in blood.
No, he
I
doesn't.
like the feeling of blood in my armor.
You can ask Necro. He has something else in his armor.
We don't bring that up. We washed out. I can still feel it.
It's squishy.
Anyway, so apparently this is the situation. The monster is off balance. Juggernaut clamps his fists together and creates flames and begins running at the monster. In order to avoid, I rolled the dice to see if the monster could avoid. It rolled a 2.
No, they can't.
So it stumbles backwards as Juggernaut leaps forward to punch it in the leg, and Juggernaut accidentally goes up it and punches it in the torso, which is also currently on fire, with giant crossbows sticking out of it.
And it's also still on fire.
It's still on fire as well, yes. So Juggernaut kind of like, Falcon! Punch! The golem kind of just like unravels itself. It falls apart. And as Juggernaut strikes, he feels something squishy on his hand. And he attempts to pull his hand out, and when he does, he rolled a natural 20. So what happened was he grabbed onto the sack that was inside the monster that was holding all of the blood. And when he ripped it out, he literally ripped it. And just got blasted by what could only be described as gallons of blood. Just like a slip and slide, just whee! Blah, 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 blah. If he didn't have spiked armor, he'd still be going at this point. Alright, so. With a whimpering scream, the creature slowly unravels and falls apart, releasing what could only be described as a geyser of blood. Luckily for everyone else this time, it was only aimed in one direction. Unfortunately for Juggernaut, however, he got a face full of it. And a shirt full of it. And pants full of it. And a mouth full of it. And nose full of it. And it's just everywhere. And the worst part is it's not even warm blood. It's cold. Excuse me, I'm just rolling the dice for no apparent reason. Oh!
For no apparent reason.
Necro, your back hurts, by the way.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's normal. It hurts right about where the tentacles are. Anyway, from the shadows, Juggernaut hears a pair of fingers snap and hears, "Oh darn, I guess we'll have to try again later." And here's a giggle as it skips off into the shadows where he can't see it. So, current situation. Mom Bear's daughter, who was supposed to stay at home in the Shire, where she would be safe from all these things, has decided, I'm going to follow my mom onto a ship. She then got to town and found herself drunk as a skunk, passed out in bed, woke up and realized everyone left, followed you guys there, got lost twice, and was able to run up and save Mama Bear at the last minute. Mama Bear is not exactly happy to see her daughter right now, as her daughter has broken the laws of their people. In Elven society, your elder says something, you do it.
It's supposed to listen.
It's a bad lesson. Very bad. Juggernaut is currently coded with and Necro is actually kind of okay this time around.
Oh yeah, by the way, I high-fived the Elder Tentacle now.
Alright, so as you're sitting there, you notice something. It's as if gravity has begun to reverse itself. You all watch in a kind of amusement and terror as the parts of the golem and the blood that's everywhere begins to form little, those little globules you see in like lava lamps?
Yeah.
And they all start floating towards the ceiling, to the roof. And as you all look, you see a literal pool of blood on the ceiling. It's writhing, it's moving as if it has its own mind. It slowly begins crawling across the ceiling and disappears down the only other tunnel out, making glorping sounds.
I don't like that blood.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. It's not good. Also, Juggernaut starts hearing rhythmic chanting.
Like Indian?
Yeah, kind of. Of course, you all hear it too, which is kind of strange. It seems to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
The only thing I can think of is, oh no, not again.
Mom,
Yo, listen, I didn't take any of those shrooms, man. I didn't take any of the peyote. Should I be seeing this shit?
as the music goes quiet, you catch sight of a hooded figure sitting on the balcony looking down at everyone. The figure looks at all of you and just shakes its head. You're too late, heroes. It's only a matter of time before they all die. You'll never be able to save them all. Looks at
They tried killing us first.
That they did. That they did. However, they are all innocent creatures. The masks are what causes them to do this.
How can we stop the mass?
He slowly tilts his head towards Necro, gives a small giggle, and says, well, you already seem to have a burden on your shoulders.
Yeah, I'm kind of aware of this. And why does it keep happening?
He looks over at Mom Bear. He gives a little chortles like a The changes have already begun. The truth about this island, the truth that you don't know. You're all pawns here in a struggle of 3 different entities. All 3 of them trying their hardest to win your favor. These 3 entities only want your happiness and your joy.
It don't seem like they want our happiness and joy.
You mistake the creatures, he continues as you speak. You mistake these creatures for humans. But they're not. They are improvers. They believe that they can improve and fix the species. However, they don't look towards the actual beings that they test on. Even the prince himself is unaware of these creatures. But you've met one already.
Oh?
And he looks at Juggernaut and he goes, and it knows you fondly, Juggernaut Jared. It is known as Zinch, the unholy creature of change.
Yeah, well, what if you're filled with nothing but anger and there's nothing that makes you happy?
He smiles, and you notice something when he smiles. His jaw, it's not human, it's made of metal. You will be happy, whether you choose to be or not. That is their only goal. Zinch can change your mind in ways that you cannot imagine. It seems that you have become friends with one of Zinch's pets. The reason you and your friends are still alive, only to better Zinch's plan. Then turns and looks at Mom there. Or perhaps it's Nurgle's plan. And then he looks at Necro. Perhaps Korn? Cthulhu? Behemoth? There's so many of these creatures, and they just seem to be drawn to this one island. They live in their own dimensions. Towering creatures, at war with one another constantly, for some strange reason. This time of year, every year, they come to this island. Searching for one thing and one thing only.
And what would that be?
A champion. He holds up his hand and you realize that his hand, it's missing a few things. Like fingers. Or an actual hand. In your head you can see something there, but there's nothing there. Each one of you looks at where his hand should be and sees something different, but you can't describe it. It kind of makes you feel unsettled. Is it a paw? A crab's claw? A tentacle? Is it a robotic blade? Is he holding a knife? You can't tell. He continues by saying, we are all failures as champions. The cult of the unchanging is who we are. We apologize for our earlier mishap, but when your friends suddenly came out of the shadows at us, we were scared. After all, it's not every day we see a man holding a giant pike leap out of the shadows to impact catch a small cat girl. He looks at Necro, very stealthy by the way.
So, is there any way we can work with you to try and help us?
He looks at all of you and closes his eyes and shakes his head slightly. I cannot allow any of you, You have all been taken by one of the champions, or one of the gods. Each one of you chosen to be a champion. You've shown dedication to people, saved lives you didn't have to, have done amazing deeds, defended yourself against creatures you should have no chance against. Why, this one right here looking at Juggernaut slaughtered every male of an entire red-capped species while high on mushrooms. He ate 2 of them! Ate them! He looks at Juggernaut and goes, he ate them whole.
He's like chicken.
He covered them in oil from a lamp and swallowed them whole. He then used your other friend like a baseball bat and winged him around the room, killing the rest of them, smearing them all over the room as he grabbed handfuls of hallucinogenic mushrooms. How are we supposed to let that help us?
Listen, I apologize for that. I was not in my right frame of mind, okay?
Look at you taking fucking handfuls of mushrooms!
Mrs. Red stands next to Juggernaut. My client is innocent, Your Honor. Innocent, I say. Of course, no one can see Mr. Ed, and neither can the cultist. Only Juggernaut can see the horse-headed man in the suit next to him.
So, are you saying that eventually the 3 of us are going to have to fight each other?
No, there's a chance. As we have gone through the artifacts and attempted to get them off the island, they always come back. The creatures that lurk in the waves will always return them to the island. But this time, the gods were foolish. The last artifact has been found. And while we, the cultists of the Unchanging, can't touch it, you can. You've already been chosen, which means all of you can pass through the barrier. All one of you has to do is touch the staff and utter the phrase, I wish to be myself. And it will free you from this curse. Or it'll damn you for all eternity. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to discuss it all. It's called...
all of us, or just the one that touches?
Well, just the one that touches it, but then you can pass it amongst each other. However, there is a catch. Once you reach the final antechamber, once you reach the 8th chamber, where the final artifact lays, they will be there.
The gods?
Perhaps. Perhaps some figment of them. Every hero who has ever made it there has gone mad and attempted to escape with the artifact. Screaming, screeching their heads off, running past their companions that they drove to death. That they slaughtered in the name of these nightmarish creatures, whose names change every time. Ancient are they, beyond our own time. But these artifacts, they can damage them. They can hurt them. They can push them back. Heed my words. The artifacts will tempt you. They are all of great and terrible power. You approach one even now. He looks down the hallway and holds his head down. Down that tunnel, you will find the first artifact. The Hand of Narshin. It is both an amazing tool and a terrifying tool at the same time. I beseech you to take it, but I also ask that you do not use its power. For one use may save your life, but afterwards, it will try to take you. It will try to change you. They run off of negative energy. And he looks at all of you and says, and you're all full of it to spare. Especially you. And looks right at Juggernaut. You! You are far too angry. Get a scented candle, take an herbal bath, smoke some weed. Go on, jeez.
Have some more shrooms.
Have some more shroom. Wait, no, don't do that. No. We don't need to lose the entire goblin population. Thank goodness some of those red caps are pregnant.
if I have any more shrooms, I'm afraid of what I will do to my two fellow hunters.
So what everyone doesn't see is Mr. Ed slowly putting down a bag full of shrooms and hiding it behind himself, like whistling. Which, by the way, no one can see but you, Juggernaut. I'm just saying, you're the only one who can see Mr. Ed right now. But as he looks at
No, sir, I don't like it.
He looks at Malmbear and says, "You were the first to change. You accepted your fate. However, you accepted it strangely. Rather than choose one side or the other, you joined with them. That will give you the power. Perhaps it'll give you the ability to wield an artifact or two." He looks at Necro and kind of jumps back a little. "As for you, I'm afraid the transformation has not completed itself yet."
It hurts!
"We are aware of this. You have two giant tentacles coming out of your back. Of your spine. Of your shoulder blades." He looks at Juggernaut, and they say, "We wish only the best for you, my friend. For yours is the worst yet." And then they slowly look over at Trisha with a smile. "And you..." He starts laughing and then slowly walks away. Laughing as he slowly disappears into the shadows. The laughter slowly going away. Except for Juggernaut, who hears Mr. Ed laughing maniacally. "That's funny!" But no one can see Mr. Ed laughing. So only Juggernaut can see this half horse, half man laugh. Okay, so everyone just heard him say, "Shut up, Ed." Just throwing it out there.
What did you do?
As you all turn to each other and look down the hallway, you can see a glow. It's bright. It's ever changing. It's red, and then it's yellow, and then it's green, then blue, then pinkish, and then yellow, and then red again, and then green. Okay, then it just rotates from there. Psst, I'm looking at the lights in Necro's room.
That's a little cloudy.
It's a little cloudy in there. Oh no, there's clouds coming out of the room as well. But you can all sense something down there. Necro doesn't even need his scanners to be able to tell anyone that there's a powerful magic down there. And as you all prepare yourselves for the adventure ahead, we're going to end it here.
Cliffhanger!
It's always a cliffhanger with me. Except for the times you're actually hanging from cliffs. I'll let you get up from the cliff. That'll be a cliffhanger. Well, folks, I want to thank you all for joining us for this short little adventure. When we pick up next time, one of these three... Oh, sorry. Sorry, no, sorry. Not you. You, Juggernaut, or Necro. One of these three will not be themselves.
Probably me.
We don't know that. Shall we roll the dice to see who it is? I'm going to roll the dice to see who it is. Never mind. So anyways, folks, until next time, I'm your DM Kaiju K.
I'm Necker Nick.
I'm Juggernaut Jared.
And I'm,
She's
Fairy Trisha.
She's Fairy Princess Trisha. We got Mom there over here. And we will see you all in the future. Peace out, everybody, and cheers.